What is happening, every good people of the world? Welcome to the Mad Poet Show. It looks like things are actually working. If you were here at the very beginning, you might have seen the new intro video. I made that up over the last few days, and I was hoping everything was going to work. It appears that it did. I'm very pleased about that. I always kind of have that question of, is this stuff going to happen when it's supposed to, the way it's supposed to? And man, I don't always know, but I'm very pleased with the way it's working, at least so far. Tonight we're playing my 48th album. It is called Murder Terminology. I would like to say that I thought that would be appropriate for Friday the 13th, but even though I had been reminded of it, didn't know that it was Friday the 13th until Therese, who's in our chat today, actually texted me earlier and said, you should do Lucky 13 since it's the 13th. And I'm like, that is an awesome idea. Unfortunately, Lucky 13 is not ready to go. So I will try to remember that for the next Friday the 13th. And Murder Terminology is as close as we're going to get. You missed the intro. It's just kind of a fun little thing. It's a little kind of old style black and white movie intro. So try to catch the beginning of the show when you can, or go back and watch the replay. I won't give it away. It's available in the replay on Twitch and YouTube. I think some of the other sites do have replays. And if anyone out there is interested in checking out, I'm streaming to 12 different websites. I've put a link on my themadpoet.net that just says live, and that has a link to each of the 12 websites that I'm streaming to. So if anyone ever wants to check out any of the other websites and see what they're like or about, feel free. That's a great place to do it. So I see we got Therese here, Space Pirate Marketing. Welcome, welcome. We've got Cycling Virgil, also known as Tom, and I know this is a fairly special album to Tom because later in the show we have a song that I actually dedicated to my man Tom. So welcome one, welcome all. If you're out there just watching, thank you for coming in. If it's your first time at a Mad Poet show, I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. As I said, we're playing my 48th album tonight. It's called Murder Terminology. I already forgot the name of the first song, so we'll just skip to the next one. This next song, looks like E. Locrian. Is that what I'm doing in here? Whew. D minor? E. Locrian? Let's see what happens. This song is called Sacrificed in Thy Mirror. Looks like Susan Smith has joined us in the chat. Looks like I'm on the wrong camera. Sometimes I feel like I fix those things and then I don't. So it's good to see Susan. I haven't seen Susan in over 15 minutes. So welcome back. And we got people, happy Friday the 13th, indeed. Thank you. Having a good time on this very fine Friday. Actually, I've been doing pretty mundane stuff. I've got a fairly mundane life overall, really. Sarah is going out for a hike tomorrow with some of her plant friends in the botany club, basically, is with the Washington Native Plant Society. And there's a place, we've kind of gone out and explored it a little bit. There's a place where there's a stream they got to cross. There's this little rickety 8 just laying across it. So I built a nice wide, like 2 foot wide little bridge, about 12 feet long, strapped that to the top of her car. And so they're going to throw that across here tomorrow, make it a little easier for people to cross that stream. So that's what I've been building a bridge today that will not be going over troubled waters. In fact, it's going over a trickling little peaceful stream, so not anything like the Simon and Garfunkel song. And not anything like this next song, which is titled The Winter of Terror. My guy Stephen Paris has arrived from Facebook. Thanks for tuning in, my man Stephen. Stephen says, Randy, you are making my peaches fuzzy with those tempo changes. I like that. I'm glad that your peaches are fuzzy. I'm glad I could be part of it. Glad I could have something to do with your nutritional supplementation. Thank you, sir, for being at the show. You are appreciated. And I would like to say that once I saw Stephen's comment in there, all of those sharp sixes were dedicated to Stephen because I know how much Stephen enjoys borrowing from the Dorian mode in rock music. For anyone who just may be coming in fresh to the Mad Poet, if you are unfamiliar with what we've got going on here, I am the Mad Poet, you are an audience, we are the Mad Poet Society. Tonight we're playing my 48th album on this wonderful 13th Friday the 13th. Somehow that works out linguistically or so, something. Nonetheless, this is my 48th album of 64. And I think I mentioned a week or two back in one of my shows that I have figured out what was going wrong with the guitar sound on the album I'm currently working on, number 65, which is titled Incomprehensible Isolation. And there was an exciter plugin on it by default inside of another plugin, and I just didn't see it. And I've never used exciter plugins. Didn't really know what they were. It turns out they add extra harmonic information to a note, which can be really good in certain cases. Like if you have a kind of like a dead recording, if you have a guitar maybe with really dead strings. I didn't have bad recordings, so these were adding unwanted sounds. And unfortunately, it took me a year and a half to find that. So that I've really been shaping the album up since then. And the reason I'm thinking of it is I know that right now I have my old guitar sound, and now that I know what it is so apparent to me what's going on. Like the guitar sound is kind of grating on my nerves right now. And Steven says oral exciters make peaches fuzzy. So Steven has definitely got peaches on his mind. So I would like to also point out that not long before this show, I did have some peach yogurt. The fuzzy part of the peaches had been taken away prior to the yogurt being made. It was not fuzzy peach yogurt, but it was nonetheless peach. And Cycling Virgil says, any poems appropriate for Friday the 13th? You know, we haven't had a good poetry reading in a while. How about if I play another song and then we do a poetry reading? Let me get my poetry page ready and we will find one after this next song. Where's that going to be at? Little of this, a little of that. Cool, right there. Get this stuff out of the way and I can get back to it easily. All right, so yeah, we will do a poetry reading after this next one with our fuzzy peaches in hand, which you'll have to imagine because I actually have no actual peaches to put in hand. But I do have a guitar pick right here, and it says The Mad Poet on it, and it says themadpoet.net, and I can't believe you guys are unable to read that. I mean, it's right there. Nonetheless, from my 48th album, the fourth song, in B minor, this is called The Dance of Annihilation. Right. The Dance of Annihilation. Looks like my parents are tuning in from Facebook. Welcome, Mom and Dad. Thanks for being here. And for anyone else who may be tuning in out there from anywhere, thank you very much for coming in. Always appreciate having people here. Had a request for a poetry reading. Something Friday the 13th-esque. And basically with my poetry, as long as I can read it on stream, it'll probably be pretty Friday the 13th-esque. But a lot of these I just can't read on stream. I can't even read the title of that one to you. How about a little longer one? We haven't done a little longer one for a while. This one's called A New Way to Your Heart. This was actually written for lyrics as a lyrical thing. I've never done anything with the song. It's got a cool... In fact, Doc, who is commonly in our stream here, one of my moderators, he and I were jamming one day, and I just kind of came up with this little riff. Something kind of like that. And it inspired this song. So someday I may actually do this. This would be sung from the from the perspective of a female. And there's a little twist at the end. So this is A New Way to Your Heart. You were standing beside me, the beginning of the end. I believed all things could be, enraptured in your spell. One made from the two of us may never be again. I shall make it right again. Love unparalleled. Everything inside me and everything that blinds me, I'll take it all apart. Crying in the night, believing it is right. I know that I will find a new way to your heart. Lying beneath me, the light in your eyes, at love's apogee, don't ask me why. My hand will define meaning in your life. All in my design, the intention of my knife. My blade through your skin, piercing and withdrawn. To your heart within, now our love is gone. Warm blood and cold steel, into and beyond. Your heart will never feel, and now mine can go on. Everything inside me and everything blinded me. I've taken it apart, crying in the night, believing it was right, and now I have found a new way to your heart. I cannot tell you why, though I cannot deny, and though it makes me cry, it is true, I know, that every love must die. Unknown feelings, without meaning, everything is lost, and everything is gained. Our love unrequited, and now, without the pain. Because that's the kind of happy poetry that the Mad Poet writes. So let's move into some more happy music off of this album titled Murder Terminology. 48th album by the Mad Poet, who happens to be me. Which makes this very convenient because I can play all the Mad Poet music and never worry about copyright infringement because it's mine. Well, sometimes I'll be on forums for, streaming and stuff, and all the time people are like, how can I get away with playing copyrighted music on my stream? Yeah, own it. Or get permission for it. I give permission to people to use my music all the time. If someone contacts me, hey, can I play your music in my stream? Yeah, go for it. Use it in a YouTube video. I'll give people permission. I'm good with that. Yeah. But this makes it very easy. The only copyrighted work I've ever played was Koyan Baba, which I had no trouble with. Mostly, you don't have nearly as much trouble if you don't play the recordings of music. Doing covers is much safer. And I do want to get back to playing some more of the classical guitar because that was really good. But when I listen back to it, I'm like, I really got to work on getting the sound to come through better, to sound more like a classical guitar. It sounded very weak and muddy to me. So that is something that I have been working on, getting that to sound better. Looks like Tom actually liked that. And it looks like Tom did not like his taxes in owing a whole bunch of money. I'm very sorry to hear that, but it looks like you also may have gotten that fixed. So on this Friday the 13th, let's continue with our theme of happiness and joy throughout the world. This song is called The Phantom of Shame. The Phantom of Shame. Yes. Again, for anyone new out there, I'm the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. Thank you for being here. Always appreciate it. If I've missed any messages in chat, if I've missed any followers or subscribers or anything from wherever you're coming in, it's never my intent. But yes, thank you for being here. So continuing with our extremely fun... I've pointed out before that if you judge me just by my album and song titles, you will probably get a very, very wrong impression of the kind of person I actually am. I feel like this album might be fairly close to the top of the list for song titles that do not accurately describe my personality. Very enjoyable album for me to play. I hope you guys are enjoying listening to it. Feels like the show is going fairly well. I gotta say, about a month ago, as my regulars will know, I changed a few things in here that have made what I do an awful lot easier. And that's been very, very nice. Basically, my songs now have a count in, so I'm not just looking at them visually to know where to come into the song. That's made a big difference. And also the songs are stopping automatically. I worked out a way to automate where my system stops, and that has made my life so much more pleasant. Very nice indeed. Let's get some more smoke going. Let's play another song. This one's an E Phrygian, and it's called The Altar of Madness. turn up my little click track I was talking about a moment ago. That's a bit on the quiet side. That'll make it easier for me. Yes! Thank you for being here once again. I'm the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. If you like what you see, hear, or smell, then feel free to check out my website as written right here, which you can see very clearly, themadpoet.net, on my little guitar pick. Actually, it's a regular sized guitar pick. There are smaller ones out there. I think this is called the 351 shape, if I recall correctly. Very standard teardrop shaped guitar pick. For those who are wondering, I use a 1mm black Delrin with the Mad Poet logo on it. Boom! And that is guitar pick Randy style. I really like the synths in that one. There's kind of a synth voice in the back of that last song. I was like, oh, this is a cool little synth. I think that's probably the DSK Choir Z plugin that I use, a free plugin for audio engineering. I've used quite extensively. I've always really liked the sound of that. I often don't know what I've got in these songs because I don't. It's been so long since I actually did the production on them. It's like, what's even coming up? Nobody knows. I should know, but I don't, because that's the way it is. All right, so what do we got going on this fine Friday the 13th? We're doing a Mad Poet show, some Mad Poet stuff, doing some Mad Poet guitar playing. We actually did some Mad Poet poetry a little while ago, which was something that we sometimes do. Playing my 48th album, moving on to the 7th song. The song is called Forsaken Soul. I really like my lights. I'm really proud of that. Coming from where we started with these shows nearly 2 years ago, it's been a fun journey, but that light show is really cool. I've got, check my chats and stuff variously, and I've got a monitor over here that shows what my cameras are showing, and man, my lights are cool. It's freaking awesome. I do not have a bad life. Thank you for being a part of it. You know what else ain't bad? What's about to happen ain't bad. And some of you already know what it is. That's right. Because ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the G sharp minor portion of the show. You are welcome. It's always good to get to the G sharp minor portion. Some of my albums don't have a G sharp minor portion. I'd like to thank Tom for the $20 tip. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Always good having you here. I also want to point out, since I was talking about almost 2 years, what's the date today? We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary of the Mad Poet Society. So 2 weeks from tonight will be our 2-year anniversary show. And I will be playing The Patron Saint of Murderers. The Patron Saint of Murderers is the first album I ever played on stream. It's my 55th album. And it's a very fun one to play. I did play that on the first anniversary. I think that's always going to kind of be my anniversary stream album. Play it every once in a while in between as well. I'm looking forward to that. Tell your friends about it if you have any friends and or if you are in fact so inclined. But right now, let's get to the reason we're here. The reason we don't need to do drugs or drink. The reason we never rebelled against our parents. The reason that we get up in the morning is to listen to the Mad Poet play in G sharp minor. This song is called Bleeding Out. Oh, bad camera angle again. Let's fix that. Let's get Reaper active again so that when I hit the space bar, things will work correctly. Don't make that mistake too often these days, but it still comes up. Speaking of bleeding out, Tom says, be bleeding out next week. His 59th unit of O negative blood. That's over 7 gallons since 2009. That's bleeding out, baby. I would dedicate that last song performance to you, but don't really need to. Because this next song is actually dedicated to you. I've known Tom for quite a long time, probably 18, 20 years. I've kind of been an auxiliary to a more primary friend group that he's a part of. And he is a super cool guy. So I knew when I started doing my rapid fire music compositions that I would be dedicating a song to him. When this album came around, it was time. This next piece is in C minor. We're slowing down a little bit here. This song is dedicated to my man Tom. Thank you very much for being a good friend. Thank you very much for being a regular viewer of these shows and for being a regular tipper. Tom is my second largest tipper of all time. Much appreciated. This song is called Daydreams About Nightmares. Well, we've had some fun tonight, haven't we, guys? We played some G sharp minor. We had a song dedication. We had a poem. We did some Mad Poet stuff. We talked about some things and some stuff and some junk. And we got one more song to go. So we're moving in on the end of the show. Again, thank you very much all for being here. Thank you, Tom, very much. If I missed any followers, any tippers, if I missed any chatters, my apologies. That is never my intent, but it does sometimes happen. My 48th album, the 10th song, is called Hatred Grows Too Slowly. That is the Mad Poet Show for the evening. Thank you very much, one. Thank you very much, all. I appreciate you being here. Chatters, viewers, tippers, followers, subscribers, wherever you are, whatever you do, do it well. I will be back next week on Friday again for sure. 8 o'clock p.m. in the Pacific time zone. Adjust for your own time as necessary if you are in fact so inclined. If you liked what you saw, heard, and smelled on today's show, feel free to visit themadpoet.net, the repository for all things Mad Poet-esque and things and stuff and junk. In 2 weeks, we will be doing my anniversary show, playing my 55th album, The Patron Saint of Murderers, which is the first album I ever played live on stream. Looking forward to doing it. Don't know what album I'm going to be playing next week, but it will be either number 2 through number 64. Because those are the albums that I can do on stream. I can't do my first one because it's just not set up this way. The rest of them are fair game. And who knows, maybe I'll set up Lucky 13 and do that one since I didn't do it on Friday the 13th. No promises, it's a possibility. Nonetheless, I'm the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. Thank you for being here, and I will see you